And our first presenter will be József Vadkerti, coming from Microsoft. As a senior cloud solution architect and a hobby runner, József works in the CEE region helping enterprise customers to innovate their cloud workloads in Microsoft Azure. He will be joining us through Zoom, and the title of his presentation is Microsoft Build 2022 Announcement. Please give a warm applause and welcome to our first presenter, József Vadkerti.
József, the stage is yours. Okay, thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Thanks for to join today's session about Microsoft Build 2022 announcements. Our flagship developer annual conference has just taken place last week, and all the exciting news, all the exciting announcement that we have recently communicated, I tried to collect in this presentation. There were two main questions that have been raised by Satya as well, so the Microsoft CEO. What can we build, and what does the world need us to build? Those two subsets, and maybe you feel that there are two subsets, and we just would like to find the intersection of those subsets and what will be built in the upcoming years. So I'm József Vadkerti, Senior Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft, and I just would like to dive in as fast as possible. Maybe I hope that I can page my presentation. Yeah, exactly. So most probably you have heard our mission statement, empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And nowadays, I would say that looking back to the pandemic and even before the pandemic, you have heard many times about the digital transformation and the digital disruption that's just happening and still currently happening. And we have just slightly changed this mission statement for you to empower every developer and every organization on the planet to achieve more. Because you, as developers, are the key drivers of the business transformation, of the business outcome, and the whole digital transformation in whichever industry verticals you are working for. Of course, you think that, yeah, sure, we are developers. I'm also a developer, software engineer originally, and to be honest, I've also worked for software development houses and worked for like technology giants like Microsoft. And it's obvious for us that developers are key players in the digital transformation, and it's really good news for us. But it's also sometimes an issue. And not just sometimes, it's an issue for other companies acting in different organizations and acting in different industries like retail, insurance, healthcare, even a car automotive industry, if you look at that. So software was something far, far away from this company. And we, together with the McKinsey & Company, partnered to make a comprehensive survey about, in these industry verticals, what company needs to, or what it takes for a company to become a technology company. So simplifying the question, what you really need as a company acting in a different industry sector to create such an environment where developers, in which you can unblock the developer ingenuity, unlock the developer's creativity. So this is called the developer velocity, and it's less common with the velocity that we use in agile methodology. So this is not a team velocity. This is a kind of index to determine what are the key drivers for a company or for companies working in different industry sectors to become a technology company. And this survey is available for free. And if you look for it in the internet, you can download it and you can really read it through which drivers and which parameters, let's say, the survey has picked up, starting from the HR, organization structure, culture inside the company, engineering processes, if there are, anyway, and also some other psychological aspects, that how far that company is stable in that particular industry. And let's say from those 46 drivers or 46 parameters, the number one driver of the business, number one driver of key driver for increasing or reaching a higher business performance was the best-in-class tools. So companies not acting in the software development industry or services industry, if they provide best-in-class tools for their developers, they reach higher business outcome and higher business revenue. And as you can see, with the right tools, and tools is not just, let's say that DevOps tool, means a little bit broader area here. You can reach 65% more innovation. You can reach even almost 50% more developer satisfaction in comparison with other companies having lower developer velocity indexes. And this is something that the survey, and of course this kind of approach, and looking back our mission statement as well, this is something that we use to form and create and establish our strategy, our product strategies. And what we are struggling, or what we're driving on every day, and our PGs and productions are working on, is to provide such tools, and let's say tools in broader meaning, like GitHub, Visual Studio, and also platforms like Microsoft Azure or our Power Platform to as services, so tools and services to reach higher developer velocity for every organization on the planet. That's how we try to create our strategy. And Satya has also mentioned this in the keynote, that a typical developer flow looks as follows. So from idea to code and then from code to cloud, and from cloud to world. And if you think of the developer velocity, the developer velocity index here, all our announcements have something to do with the developer velocity, increasing the productivity, and so on and so forth. So that's what our, let's say, strategy and how our strategy forms our products and services out there. And to start with the build announcements, let's say that it's also a little, almost 3-day conference. It was also organized in a digital way, unfortunately not in person and not in Seattle. There were 5, let's say, main streams, and all those main streams have started with a keynote, then breakout sessions, and later on Ask the Expert sessions. And I've gathered some of the biggest or largest announcements and enhancements that you can leverage during your developer velocity journey, let's say, starting from developer environments and closing with data and AI announcements. So let's dive in and having a look at our developer environments. So where you start your code, you have the idea you want to code it. Most probably you have heard about that we have something in GitHub, the GitHub Copilot, that will be GE'd in summer 2022, and it will be free for students and verified open source contributors in GitHub. GitHub Copilot uses OpenAI services under the hood, so the Azure OpenAI service, originally created by the OpenAI research company in San Francisco, and we have licensed it and fine for understanding different languages. As you can see, write your text, human-like text, and it will be automatically interpreted and translated to the appropriate execution and appropriate commands, not just for types for Python, what you see here, but also for C# Java. So I also use it. I'm signed up for a private preview. And what we expect from GitHub Copilot that almost 50% will be 50% of the code in GitHub will be created by Copilot and by your AI programmer. That's our expectation. But if you can give it a try. The other area that I wanted to highlight here is the GitHub Code Spaces. GitHub's Code Spaces is already G. It's available for you. It's a Linux container, customizable Linux container. As you can see here, you can use the .dev container folder, and under a JSON file, you can describe what you want to install in your Visual Studio code editor, and then when you and plus every other any other bash script or shell scripts, so you can really customize it, and you can use it for web, cloud native, API, and backend development. It's tightly bonded to your GitHub repository, and really you can use. Let's say last time I've used Key9 extension to create Kubernetes, AKS-based Kubernetes specifications directly in the code space without going into my own development device and so on and so forth. And just one sentence, the former CEO of GitHub, the Ned Friedman has also shared that this was the biggest innovation in the last decade for developer productivity. So look at our strategy, the developer velocity, and how we can increase the developer velocity and in whatever companies on the planet. It's something that it's worth to, let's say, that mention. If you code, of course, you need to have something. You need to care about security. You have most probably heard that we have GitHub Enterprise license and GitHub Enterprise tier. On top of the GitHub Enterprise tier, you can purchase also the advanced security and done for private repositories. So dependency scanning, code scanning, and secret scanning are available. But these features, so all security features of GitHub, also available for public repositories. So you can easily test it, create a GitHub repo, and start just enabling the advanced security features. At the enterprise level, we have introduced single sign-on SAML support for Azure Active Directory. So enterprises can use Azure Active Directory accounts to sign in into GitHub organizations. What we have recently announced is the GitHub OpenID connector component or publisher for Azure AD. And with that, you don't need to manage client secrets anymore. So when you want to deploy something from your GitHub repository using GitHub Actions to Azure subscriptions or to Azure resources, this is the way OpenID Connect component, and it's very simple. So you go to your Azure app registration and you just federate with your GitHub enterprise and respectively the right repository, and with that you get so I told the story. And finally, we have also announced the push protection. I hope that you can see the pictures. Push protection is pretty new feature. Sensitive data and secrets cannot be pushed to the repositories. It will be by default blocked. What you see here, it's also an option when you have a sensitive data, when you have secret that you want to use for testing purposes, then you can bypass the check and let the stuff go into the repository. One additional service here, when you code and when you start from code to cloud, and this is not more security, it's more about performance. We have we have made publicly available in preview stage the Azure load testing service. It's a best service. What you need to do is only just upload the gmeter file, the gmx file with certain parameters, and you can easily reach up to 10,000 virtual users per sec per instance. So if you need more, of course, you can create another Azure load testing service instance. It's pretty straightforward. And it's an enterprise-grade service, meaning that Azure load testing service under the hood, you can manage the system-assigned identity, and with that you can reach out to keyword service, or you can reach out on any other service, including your test execution, plus the CI/CD integration for GitHub and also for Azure DevOps services is available. And with that, you can even use the baseline comparison function or capability to prevent certain rollouts in case of performance degradation. So pretty new stuff, pretty good stuff, but it's you can use everywhere. I mean that you can use also on testing on-premises environment. So that's obviously an option there without less knowledge about infrastructure and architecture in our Word computer. DevBox, it was just recently announced. It is in private preview, and you can sign up for DevBox if you use the link below on the slide. We have some, let's say, cloud box segmentations. You see that virtual desktop, dev test labs, the Windows 365 cloud PC. And I picked that slide. It was, its cool name was originally Fidalgo, and now it's announced as Microsoft DevBox. And Microsoft DevBox is something special in the Windows as a service area. The main idea is that, and also considering the developer velocity index that I've just mentioned earlier, that how you can create in a self-service portal as a developer your own machines in a real fast way and in a real customized way. So as mentioned before, GitHub Codespace is for Linux-based workloads related to bound repositories, and Microsoft DevBox is a solution or service that where we, first of all, Microsoft provides, we provide you the SLA, so you don't need to care about the management and high availability of that service on one side. On the other side, you can easily roll out Intune and Microsoft Endpoint Manager to these Windows-based PCs. The underlying technology is the same that we also use in Xbox game streaming. This is also used in Windows 365 Cloud PC. Finally, what you can do, you can customize your base images. So as an administrator, you can create your base VM images, upload your even the source code if you want, but prepare your environment. You have a runtime, all the runtimes, all the developer editor tools, anything is there. And then you can assign that VM image to projects with the appropriate VM sizes, and in the projects you can assign project team members as well. And as you as a project team member, you can just go to the self-service portal, open the select a machine that you want to create, so which project with which image, and you immediately get an environment. If you don't use it, it will be hibernated, so you don't need. You are not going to pay for it. Pretty straightforward. And imagine the companies with global coverage and global workforces around the world, or just working with suppliers or contributors. It's pretty straightforward to give an environment where immediately as a developer you can start working on developing desktop client applications, mobile applications, gaming applications, AI stuff. So what you need to develop. So that's that was one of the biggest announcements in the secure cloud or secure development environments. And here is an example how it looks like. We are in Visual Studio 2022 and execute the Maui application. It's yeah, also we will also cover that topic a little bit later, but that's the look and feel. That's the impression that you get from Microsoft. That was real productivity increasing tool, helping customers to reach higher developer velocity. Another stream was the cloud native apps, like because everybody is talking about, first of all, the cloud native architecture and how cloud native architecture helps also helps also the applications and end users to get more reliable, more resilient apps directly. And under this tracks, under the cloud native apps, we have announced that the Azure Container Ops is generally available. It's just recently GE. And what's Azure Container Ops? You might ask. In case of Azure Container Ops is a fully managed serverless container platform. Under the hood, it uses AKS, but you don't see AKS. You don't see anything. You see just the one service in Azure, and you can create container environments, and in top of the container environments, you can show apps there. An app can be only one container, or app can consist of multiple containers. Same, and at the end, they are pods, and pods are can communicate with each other. You can place your container apps in a virtual network, so the virtual network integration is there, and your apps can communicate through HTTP or WebSocket or gRPC. Pretty many features and services are there that you had to install previously for AKS. I mean that KEDA and Dapper support is there. With KEDA, so the Kubernetes event-driven autoscaler, you can scale down to 0. When you scale down to 0, you pay nothing for this service. When you use HTTP as support, and when the HTTP request hits the app will be started, and you can start serving out requests. As you see, that traffic splitting is there, so our open service mesh installation is also available on that Kubernetes cluster. And I would say that the main takeaway here is that it simplifies your life if you have such workloads. Plus, not mentioning, or just really mentioning here, that the pricing structure is the same what you have already experienced with Azure container instances. So you pay for vCores per sec, you pay for utilized memory per sec. So it was one of the biggest announcements. But of course, in AKS, so Azure Kubernetes services, we have announced some exciting new features, like the Draft 2 extension for our Azure CLI. So with Draft, you can easily create Docker files, YAML descriptions, Helm chart, and or customize, plus GitHub Actions to immediately push your changes to Azure Kubernetes services. We have also introduced some cluster extensions that have been originally used in Azure Arc context. So you had to have an Azure Arc enabled cluster, even an AKS cluster, to have, let's say, Flux, and you with Flux operator you have you had a GitHub's operator on top of the AKS cluster, but we have changed the way, and it's there as a cluster extension. Immediately you can install it. KEDA, as mentioned, Kubernetes event-driven autoscaler as an AKS add-on is publicly available. Dynamic IP allocation is there. It's not necessarily so important, except for that you know what Azure CNI is. To additional announcements for around worker nodes. One was the SIS compliance. All of our worker nodes are SIS compliant by default, and the other area is the ARM64 architecture, processor architecture support in our worker nodes. Why it's essential? If you think of sustainability, ARM64 processor, with ARM64 processors, you can decrease your carbon footprint. And not just for that, also from some emulators, simulators, compilers, maybe you need ARM64 processors in general. And the new web app routing service is there with Nginx ingest controller and open service mesh. So these are the two native apps directly inside Azure, where you can place your cloud native apps. And besides that, we have also announced the Azure Managed Grafana. It's in public preview, and you can easily, so if you need, once again, a best service, you just instantiate it or spin up and connect to your AKS cluster. I proved you on the picture that you see an AKS cluster with container insights and application insights in the pods. Provide data to the Azure Grafana, Managed Grafana service, and yeah, that's also very handsome feature or useful feature for developers and also for operators. And now looking forward, another highlight here, but I would not say that highlight because Microsoft Azure supports Java workloads many years. I mean that one of the original service, the predecessor of the app service, has already supported some types of Java workloads. And I wanted to bring this topic also to the table that in general, there is a wrong perception in the market that most of the people think that Microsoft Azure is an ideal place for Microsoft technology. So if you have Microsoft technology, you most probably go to Microsoft Azure. And this is definitely not true because we have invested a lot to make possible to almost whatever Java workload in Azure in different services. As you can see here, the GDK, what we support those GDKs. We support Java SC and Java E2E implementations like GBoss, Bytefly, and WebLogic WebSphere in different services on Azure. So if you have a monolith Java application or a microservices application or even a serverless application, you think that you want to create serverless on Azure with Java as programming language, Azure Functions as well support Java workloads. And we have a comprehensive decision tree where you can place your workloads in Azure. In which services? It's an IIS, of course, this is the most simplest way, but besides IIS, look at the containers. We have Azure containers, Azure Kubernetes services. We have Azure Red Hat OpenShift service, so ARO, we call them. You can place your Java workloads directly in app service. You can just upload your jar file or WAR file, and let's say the magic happens and your Java application is up and running. Plus, what's new here, and since we are still in the cloud native apps, the Azure Spring Cloud is available, and this is the Azure, currently we have renamed it, it's called Azure Spring Apps, and this is the same fully managed container platform for Spring Boot applications. And it's there, same easy to use approach, but with also enterprise level support, because Azure Spring Apps under the hood uses VMware Tanzu cluster, so the Cloud Foundry specification of VMware, plus the Kubernetes AKS cluster together to get those Spring Boot applications execute and host in that environment. So once again, cloud native. And since we just touched Java, we touch right now the .NET as well. the .NET MAUI has been GE'd, and with that, having that, you can reach with .NET all of the workloads, starting from desktop till AI, since .NET ML is also available, and all the devices, as you can see that the desktop and mobile applications. MAUI itself is the multi-platform application UI. So one code base written in C# and you can compile it to as many devices as you see here. All in all, you can address 5 billion devices, 1 billion Windows users and 4 billion mobile devices in a way that when you install that preview, as you see, the 17.3 you can install the MAUI platform, and if you are in the US, you immediately a Windows subsystem for Android will be installed on your machine. It means that when you start debugging, not an emulator will be started anymore, rather than the Windows subsystem for Android does this work directly on the machine. If you have an iPhone and an Apple developer account, you can use Visual Studio to download the application directly on your iPhone without having a Mac. And if you want to go deeper, we have a very comprehensive solution called .NET Podcast, where you can see the MAUI components, even Blazor, the WebAssembly component, and also some cloud-native back-end processes running on Azure Container Apps. So it's an end-to-end solution covering the whole cloud-native environment with the appropriate client-side applications. Okay. Collaborative apps, just to look back the developer velocity, what I have previously mentioned. Why does low code matter? And why we think of after the first shock, let's say that we have such very funny environments where you can click and create some applications, that there is a pretty large demand in the market, and but the market researchers tell that in the upcoming 5 years, 500 million new applications will be built. So there's the demand in those industry verticals that I mentioned, and more than in the last 40 years. And there will be also a kind of gap from software developers. As you can see, by the 2030, we approximately expect 1 million developers missing from the market. And that's why it's essential to have such environments like low-code, so power platform environments. And we say that citizen developers and professional developers can work together using a so-called Fusion development model. And Fusion means the following 3 pillars here. We start with API first approach. So that's the traditional, so the professional developers' place to work. Then we have low-code, no-code environments where citizen developers can use Power BI, Power Up, Overflow, and virtual agents to even create bots on their own need, plus the custom connectors that use the underlying APIs through Azure AD authentication. So Azure AD is the glue. And on the left side, you see the developer Visual Studio, Azure DevOps Services, GitHub. All of them supports, of course, with Visual Studio, you can write our workflows, you can write our UI components in Power Platform, but all DevOps tools support ALMs, application lifecycle management solutions for the Power Platform, so-called solutions. So they are also solutions, many solutions, and with pipelines, you can push them into the Power Platform environments. And on top of it, you can easily integrate them into Teams or Viva as a collaboration platform. So it's pretty easy, and if you have access to Teams, and most probably like big enterprises have that environment, then your line of business applications can be easily pushed to users in different business units. So that's the kind of collaboration. But in case of collaboration, we have also communicated or brought an example from Hexagon that how a collaboration can look a little bit different inside teams. What you see here, that the team's participants work on a custom object here in a turbine together during a conference. So it's not just writing together Word or editing Excel or I don't know, similar things. It's a custom application that was put into the Teams collaboration canvas using the latest Teams SDK with the Fluid framework, so Microsoft Fluid framework, plus Azure Fluid Relay service to get this thing run inside Teams. So this is a kind of different collaboration, let's say. And some other announcements, because Microsoft, and we need to mention something about Windows as well, and some AI data related stuff that I have brought to you. In addition, Windows new store. So we have redesigned the store from scratch. Those applications are supported in the new store, so you can push whatever application you want into store, and we also support Android applications with the help of Amazon App Store. If you are in the US, you can install Amazon App Store through Microsoft Store, and with that you get also the Windows subsystem for Android, and with that, you can run whatever Android application you want on your desktop environment. And in addition, we have also addressed Windows capabilities. We talk right now about hybrid AI, and the hybrid AI is can be considered Windows as a edge device for inferencing models, so for inferencing the trained models. And going to the AI, I have brought here in a video and tried to pause it, and I just checked your screen as well. We have announced the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, but the origin of the concept was created in the Xbox environment. Xbox has created a machine learning model to figure out what a signed user will do as a first action after signing in. And these were the features that you see based on the battery level, the time of day, weather, achievements, and blah, blah, blah. So these features have been considered during the machine learning model. And the traditional way was to gather the data, to put that data into, just need to also check the reference here, to gather all the data from all the users, then label it, right? Then train the model, integrate into the application, and doing an A/B testing, of course, and check what happens and whether the prediction was good or precise or absolute accuracy and so on and so forth. And this feedback loop was fragmented. And the idea was, and this service, the Azure Personalizer, is already there, so it's a long time ago, that we should use a kind of reinforcement learning because we want to react immediately the user ideas and the user changes and how it can work. What is reinforcement learning? We incentivize the model. Every time when the model predicts something. Here you see that play, fine, we rewarded that decision. And then watch was not the right answer here, it was not the right action, then we ban the model. And we do it as long as, and imagine that we do that for all users all the time, every day, and the model is just being retained on every interaction. And finally, the result was that approximately 40% lift was reached in user engagements. That was the basic idea. And the personalizer itself shows you the idea, what is intelligent data platform, and how you can extend this solution to whatever data you have stored in Cosmos DB or Azure SQL, using SQL signups link and SQL signups analytics services, and on top of it, machine learning models together to have an adaptive and near real-time feedback loop to your users. So it's such a user-centric approach. And this is the Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, consists of the following services. And yeah, so that's how you can do that real-time, near real-time feedback loop in AI and in machine learning models. And of course, Intelligent Data Platform is used by Microsoft Cloud in Dynamics 365 and Microsoft 365 and Power Platform environments. One additional announcement in data that I've also brought to you, that Azure SQL Ledger is GE'd. So Ledger means the blockchain technology and underlying blockchain technology. With that, you can guarantee that your Azure SQL database is tamper-proof. We will have another service, so already in public preview, the Azure Confidential Ledger service. With that, you can have also consortium-wide distributed ledger solution to guarantee such temporary approach. And one additional thought, and the end, OpenAI, as I mentioned at the beginning, if you remember, Copilot, AI programmer, Azure OpenAI service. Azure OpenAI service is currently in gated preview, private preview. But nevertheless, you can leverage, so if you can try it, OpenAI service available from that company in San Francisco. It's a pre-trained model, as that human-like understanding. The pre-trained model means that more than 1 billion characters and tokens has been used to train the model using deep learning algorithm. And you can play around. We have done as also during one of the keynotes. It was a fine-tuning for PowerShell, one example. It's a prompt engineering, and the other one, and I'm also done. The other one.
Sorry, József. Sorry, so very sorry, terribly sorry to interrupt you, but we are running out of time here.
I know.
So if you could quickly just conclude your presentation.
No, I'm just concluding. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
the conclusion here. So it's pretty. It's welcome. So it's pretty hard to summarize so many announcements, and we have also published the book here. So if you look for Book of News, then you can read all of our announcements through, and all other resources will be also available for your needs. So thank you very much. And the question here, what will you build? So thank you.